Hi. Oh, I see people here already. We're going to get started in just about 2 seconds. Hi. I see Christine. Hi, Christine. I see Sanjeev. Welcome. Welcome. Nice to have you guys here. So, okay, I think we're about ready to get started. So I'm Marbeth Dunn, an energy management specialist, and I help highly sensitive, empathic professionals to manage their energy so they can live a happy, peaceful, prosperous life. And I'll be talking today about energy management to ease depression. Oh, hi, Christine. Yeah, we got a little comment coming in across. That's great. Awesome. And so first, basically, before we get started, and we're just starting to get started, I want to ask you a question. How many of you right now are still dealing with or have ever dealt with a loss? You know, I know we've all dealt with losses in different ways, we know, and we'll be getting into this a little bit more. But we all deal with loss, and it could be death. Maybe you lost someone that you loved very much, a parent, a sweetheart, even a child can be very traumatic. Maybe you ended a relationship. Now that can create a lot of loss too. And maybe it's the loss of a job or a career, or perhaps you suffered a financial loss. Maybe you moved here from another country and you're feeling a great deal of homesickness. That happens. Maybe you lost your personal power or self-esteem. Maybe you tried letting time heal the past, or you tried to work through your feelings, but you still feel sadness and grief. And if that's you, you're going to love this short video training. And at the end of the training, I'm going to invite you to sign up for a free copy of my ebook, Stop Your Self-Sabotaging Patterns with Energy Management, so you can learn some more about the reasons you may be feeling stuck or depressed and what you can do about it. And I'll give you more details about this and how to see my Miracle Rockstar, how to join my Miracle Rockstar Facebook group. But for now, let's get started. Oh, hi, Charlotte. Nice to see you. Awesome. Very nice. So I've been reading a very exciting book called Lost Connections by Johann Hari. This is the book. And uncovering the real causes of depression and, I'm moving out of the camera, and the unexpected solutions. And it's been very illuminating, and I've learned, quite a bit about what causes depression. That's what he's teaching, and anxiety, and how we can solve them. And Johann Hari is an award-winning journalist who suffered a great deal from depression since he was a child. He started taking antidepressants when he was a child. And when he was a teenager, he started taking the antidepressants. He was told that his problem was created by a chemical imbalance, and he believed that for years. And so he was on antidepressants for over 10 years. And then as his antidepressants weren't working, and the doctor would prescribe stronger ones, and then he would feel better for a little bit, and then they weren't working, and the doctor would prescribe stronger ones. And he was in this cycle for years. And finally, as an adult, he began to investigate and question whether this was actually true. And he learned that almost everything that we've been told about depression and anxiety is wrong. He discovered that anxiety and depression are not caused by chemical imbalances. And what I'm going to be addressing today is what he calls the grief exception. There's a clinical psychologist and professor of social work at Arizona State University named Joanne Cacciatore, and her specialty is traumatic bereavement, people who have lost loved ones under the worst possible circumstances. She had lost a baby daughter at birth. The baby was born dead, and it was just so horribly traumatic for her. You know, she'd lost her parents, she'd lost other loved ones, but she'd never experienced anything as wrenching as what happened with her and her daughter. So she became a specialist in traumatic bereavement. And then she started to notice that great many of her clients who had experienced the death of a loved one were being diagnosed by psychiatrists with clinical depression, and they were being given powerful psychiatric drugs. And she was really upset. And as she started to investigate this, she wrote many scientific papers. And what basically happened is doctors identify depression. It's laid out in the United States and also in a great deal of the world in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual that's written by a panel of psychiatrists. But almost everyone who's grieving matches the clinical criteria for depression. Now, if you have, how many here have suffered a loss? Anybody? It can be really, really unnerving, riveting, just wrenching. I know in 2009, I lost my sweetheart to a heart attack, and I know how overwhelming the grief can be. Christine said yes. Yes. And I know that many more people on the Mark Allen. I just did an interview on Mark Allen's Late Night Health earlier today. I don't know when that's going to air, but yeah, we've all experienced this, and it can be extremely traumatic. So everybody who is grieving could be classified as being clinically depressed, but obviously that's not true. The psychiatrist invented a loophole that they call the grief exception. They said that you were allowed to show the symptoms of depression and not be considered mentally ill only if you lost someone close and only if you showed those symptoms for no more than a year. Because if you showed them for more than a year, then you would be considered mentally ill. Can you imagine? So that year seemed like, oh, Mark says the show will air next weekend and be on latenightshealth.com. Thank you, Mark. I'm excited to hear it. So you could show these symptoms for a year at one point, but over the years, the psychiatrists who wrote this diagnostic and statistical manual decided that a year was too long. So they started to narrow the length of time, and currently it's 2 weeks. So if you show symptoms of grief for more than 2 weeks, even if you lost someone you love, and I know if you've experienced grief or loss and it's so intense, how you could possibly heal that in 2 weeks. It's not possible. And so they immediately put them on these heavy-duty psychotropic drugs. And it's just so wrong. And so I wanted to address what I've been doing is that I've been working with highly sensitive professionals for a long time now, many, many years. And I've noticed that everybody is dealing with a loss on some level. And it can create feelings of anxiety. It can create, I know 2 weeks is ridiculous. Thank you, Christine. And it can really have a negative impact on all aspects of your life, and it can keep you stuck in a rut. And in my practice, I've noticed that some of the primary bars to happiness are hidden losses, events from the present or the past that you may not even be aware of. And these losses can impact you more than you could ever imagine. And they can affect your health, your wealth, your relationships, and every aspect of your life. Old wounds, hurts, losses, past events, all of these things can prevent you from creating the life. Hi, Michelle. Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. We have Michelle Rosano. Good day, Marbeth. Glad you chose this topic. Have a great live show. Her father is manic. Mom told me I have dad's depression. I felt sad. She told me I was a teen. I'm proud on no Western meds. So sad you lost your sweetheart. I'm working with seniors health program and people with AIDS, so I lose clients in community often. Yeah, no, it happens. But so many of these wounds, these hurts, these losses, they can prevent you from creating the life that you desire, because their energy stays trapped in your energetic body until you release it. And I know this can sound a little woo-woo, but we're talking about energy management, right? We've got to manage our energy. But, you can check it out for yourself. Take some time, tune into your body, because your body is always going to tell you the truth. So just notice, close your eyes for just a minute and just notice, are you feeling any tension in your shoulders, in your neck? Is your solar plexus, is it all clenched? You have maybe there's something in your throat that feels like it really wants to be expressed, or it feels uncomfortable. Your root chakra, where we hold a lot of fear and anxiety and anger there. Your body loves you, and it's always going to let you know when something isn't right. And it does this by physical manifestations so that it's communicating with you and you can address it. So the first indicators that you may be experiencing hidden loss may be physical. You may notice that you have a clenching in your solar plexus, you feel tension, you got aches, you got ailments. And it can be really challenging to feel happy when your body is urgently and forcefully telling you something is really wrong here. There's really no shortage of what can happen when your body is trying to communicate with you and tell you that something is off. It wants to get your attention, that something's off, it's out of alignment. So take time, not necessarily right now, but take time and tune in to what your body is trying to tell you. I noticed when my sweetheart passed, and did I feel depression? Absolutely. It was very, very strong, and it terrified me so much that I decided that I was not going to succumb to grief, but I was going to be proactive and to release every emotion as it came up. And I did. And luckily I have the tools. And it was really such an amazing experience. It wasn't easy. It's never easy when you're healing something like grief. However, as I allowed myself to release these emotions as they came up, sometimes, I didn't do anything. I just vegged in front of the TV. And that's okay. Sometimes maybe I indulged a little more in food, comfort food. All of that is okay. Maybe I slept too much sometimes. Maybe my sleep patterns were erratic. Have any of you experienced that? Because that happens, when you're experiencing grief. But what was really, really cool was that one day I woke up and I felt really good. For the first time in months, I felt really good. And it really didn't take all that long. And I was pretty blown away because I realized, oh, wow, look what I have that I can use to help other people. So that, and so many people are experiencing grief and pain and depression. And they don't know why. They don't correlate the incidence of losing someone or something that you love with what you're experiencing in your body and your emotions. And they really do correlate. So as insane as that grief exemption was in that psychiatric manual, it's really important that we get in touch with where are we holding any old grief or loss, because it can affect you in many ways. You can lose your appetite. You might gain weight. You can develop heart palpitations and ache in your heart. Just 10 days before my sweetheart passed in 2009, it was on Valentine's Day. 10 days before that, his mom had passed away, and he was very close to his mom. And he just felt, and of course he did die of a heart attack, but I believe that he also had a heartbreaking factor there because they were very close. And so really tune in, because your body wants to let you know that there's something here that needs to be addressed and needs to be healed. So we need to communicate. We have an emotional guidance system. An emotional guidance system is your emotions, that are saying, hey, we're here to help you and guide you. And in their healthiest state, they're like clouds. They come in, they go. And if you have, an upset, it's like a thunderstorm. It happens. We're having a thunderstorm right now. I don't know if you can hear this on the call. Very, very, very profound. But, the emotions will let you know if you haven't addressed something. The energy you hold in your body can create these physical indicators that we were just talking about. And that's why it's so essential to free yourself from these unreleased emotions. And when you release them, then you are liberated and you're in a state of happiness and joy. It's true. When you are able to release these emotions that are encapsulated in your energy or emotional bodies, you can feel so free. And really, it clears the flow in your life so that you can feel more love and joy, financial flow. Everything flows so much easier, and you feel so much better when you're not carrying these burdens. So sometimes people feel these unresolved feelings or emotions by feeling sadness or yearning. Anybody experiencing that? Or if you have difficulty focusing, that's a key that maybe there's some hidden loss. And sometimes these hidden losses, they're not just about losing a loved one. They're not just about the end of a relationship. They're not just about maybe losing your homeland, but they can also be very subtle. You could perhaps, this happened with me years ago. I broke my foot. Well, all of a sudden I had some lifestyle loss. I was bound to a knee scooter and I could not go upstairs. There was a lot where I was limited, and it made me feel hemmed in so many ways. So lifestyle losses can happen if you've experienced an illness or some kind of a disability. That can be something where you're grieving the loss of your freedom. Or if you perhaps lost your self-esteem or your power in a relationship. Sometimes it happened to me. I was overpowered in my marriage, and that was very, very diminishing for me. And I experienced a great deal of loss. I lost myself. Or have you lost your ability to take risks after maybe having a financial catastrophe? Maybe you find yourself cleaning obsessively and flying off the handle very easily. Or maybe you find yourself in some type of addictive behavior, which could be TV or shopping or food, alcohol, drugs, shopping, gambling. So have you thought about it? What are you aware of in your life? If you find that your life isn't working, if you find yourself repeating patterns over and over again, if you find that there's a veil of sadness or guilt that seems to not want to go away, have trouble sleeping, these are all physical indicators. And you could also, it may affect your blood pressure. You could have headaches, the weight loss or gain. And these are all symptoms or indicators, but they're not really the cause. So look at what might be blocking it. What could be blocking you? And if you think you've already addressed it, sometimes the energy can still be in your energy field, because very often there are many layers to these issues. And I've had that happen, and many of my clients as well, when you think you've really addressed something, but it's still there. There are deeper levels, deeper layers that need to be cleared. And so if you notice that there's still feelings of hurt or loss, if you think about the situation, or if you're feeling like you're a victim or you're blaming other people, all of these are things that can be the antithesis of joy, and they can be indicators that you're dealing with a hidden loss, events that haven't fully healed. So even though you think, well, I've already released it, it could still be there, and it can really affect you. So we have some mistakes that people make. You could ignore it and hope that it's going to go away. Well, generally it doesn't. It doesn't go away. It kind of sticks around in your energy field, and it can totally block the flow. And then you can also expect that, okay, it's going to heal in this amount of time. You can't really set a time limit on healing. Or you could blame yourself or think that there's something wrong with you because it still affects you. It's not your fault. We all experience the pain and sadness and grief of loss, and it can be so painful to deal with it, you may not want to. So I get it. And sometimes it's just a lot easier to have somebody help you. And I get that. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, that maybe you got something out of it, something you want to look at. And if you enjoyed it, then I invite you to click on the link to get marbethdunn.com/ebook. Here, I'll show you the link. And also you'll get the ebook, and it can open your eyes to some other reasons you may be feeling stuck or depressed. And I'm also hosting the Miracle Rock Stars Facebook group. It's a free Facebook group. If you're empathic, highly sensitive, you're looking for some answers as well as very positive connections, please join us. So the link is also here, somewhere down below. So thank you very much. I'm here. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And even if you're watching the video after it's complete, I'll be checking your comments and I'll be sure to answer them. So thank you so much. I send you so much love and so many blessings. And I wish you all the very best. Love and light.